Hey KAWP viewers, today we're doing another KAWP TV episode, and if you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. And today I'm here with Logan, and we're at Lexington VR, which is virtual reality, and we're going to talk a little bit about the next, I guess, generation of technology and how that is going to apply to some of the fitness aspects of things that people are going to do to kind of get a workout or enjoy fitness. So let me ask you a question. When I was in my teens, and I used to go to the arcades, this is back in the 80s, by the way, so I'm dating myself, and you would go and you'd play Pac-Man or you would play Galaga and you'd stand at the arcade, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, but you know, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing it after basketball practice, or I'm doing it after baseball practice. And then when the Wii came out in 2005, 2006, somewhere around there, well, that was pretty cool because you could do stuff. You could bowl. You could use the platform where you would balance and you would try to manipulate the board running through an obstacle course and all that. And again, it was fun, but when it was over with, you didn't feel like you had a workout. So I always thought technology at some point is going to allow people to be in a virtual world and do things. So you tell me kind of what you see currently, and then what I really want to talk to you about is what
the future
that holds.
Great, yes. So to speak on how things are currently, I think our average customer probably comes in here and they expect to just kind of play games. They're video game enthusiasts, you know, they came from console games, you know, they're playing at home. And then they get in here and they spend about 20-30 minutes with one of these headsets on, and they're pooped. I mean, to be honest with you, they're taking the headset on, they're wiping the sweat off. They're amazed with how much they're actually moving around with some of these games. So to speak on that, we have like I said, a boxing game, Creed: Rise to Glory, and you can come in here and play that, of course. And you literally have to bob and weave punches. You put your guard up. You're actually swinging. The harder you swing, the more it relates in the game to like the harder your hits are.
Are you hitting anything, or are you just in the air?
You're just in the air with the controllers. Okay. But then in front of you, you're seeing another person that you're fighting.
Okay. You have on a headset?
Yes,
yes.
Okay. You have on a headset.
Okay.
And it's just a very immersive thing, and I think it really it's more than people expect, to be honest. You know, they're thinking it's going to be nice and easy, and some games are, of course. But then there's other ones that are very active. And it takes a lot out of you.
Right.
You know?
So what are some of the other games besides the boxing that are kind of physically active?
Right. So there is the boxing. There's actually a very popular game called Saber, and that's kind of like a Guitar Hero type game, basically.
That game.
Yeah. So there you go. You'd like that. And you basically are like swiping these blocks. And it seems very simple at first, but after you do song after song, and you've done, like say, 15 minutes in a row of just even this arm movement, and you got to squat down in certain situations. And
is that the lightsabers?
Yes. It's got the lightsabers.
So you're holding one. Are you holding just the controller in the hand?
Yeah, just a controller in the hand. But then the game, depending on what difficulty you have it on, it's faster or slower. So with those higher difficulties, you're sitting there just the entire time,
right,
and everything's going nuts like that.
What about the future? I mean, what is coming? Because I envision that there will be a time where you will put on the headset or put on the glasses. I don't know how that's going to, what's the incarnation of that's going to be. But you're going to then appear in a room where you're potentially in a class, where you're taking a class with people that are to your left or your right, but they're not really there. You just feel that they are. Or you're going to go on a run, and maybe you'll be on a treadmill.
Yes.
But you'll have on these glasses, and then you'll see where you're running, and the treadmill will go up, go down. You'll feel like you're going up, going down, and looking through the glasses. Because I assume that your brain, once it kind of gets into it, it really does become almost like reality.
Yes. It's very immersive. So we have our eyes right now on something called the Virtuix Omni, and so that is a treadmill that basically holds you in place, and then you play these different games, and it directly correlates to how fast you're moving. So it basically tracks your, leg speed, and then in the game you move either faster or slower depending on how it is you're moving.
Right. What about sports performance? Can you envision taking batting practice and having a virtual pitcher throwing And actually, it's going to help you in a real life situation. Is that something that's possible?
I imagine it will be used for training purposes in the future. As the technology gets better, and yeah, like you said, it's batting practice because you got the ball coming at you. You got to judge the speed and everything. I could see it in different sports, even something as simple as basketball. Where you're just repetitively shooting over and over, and you can really see your trajectory and the angles, and it can show you stuff like that you wouldn't be able to see in real life.
One thing that I did about a year and a half ago, and this was a game changer for me, was I have a friend that had a TrackMan, which is a golf simulator. So you're in a situation like this. This is a net, and you've got a camera down on the floor, and then you've got a camera behind you, and it's set up to a software program, and you hit shots, but you get instantaneous feedback on the computer that says, okay, now this was your launch angle. This was how much your club was open or shut when you hit the ball. It shows you exactly where the ball would have gone if you were out. And that information to me was it was wonderful, because you can have the best coach that watches you hit a golf shot, or the best coach watch you practice your basketball, or the best coach play the baseball. But until you slow it down, until you can really see what your body's actually doing, it's hard to do that, because I was with a coach once, and he said, okay, shorten your swing. And I said, great. And he said, okay, now this time shorten your swing. So I did it again. He said, okay, now this time shorten your swing. And I said, dude, I've shortened it two times in a row. And he played back the camera. Here's my swing, exactly the same every time. But I felt like I was making it shorter, but I wasn't making it shorter. So
I think what can make the virtual reality unique is you get that instant feedback.
Exactly.
So yeah, like you said, with your swing, you can literally immediately know whether or not it was different. The speed, was it different, and everything is right there, like broadcasted in front of you, which I think would be a great teaching and learning tool in the future that I imagine a lot of people will use.
So what do you guys do here at Lexington VR? I see you have these rooms here where people can come and they can participate in the room, but do you go on the road? Do you take your stuff on the road? What do you do for your clients?
Yes, so we have our arcade here at 2309 Woodhill Drive.
Great.
And that is just kind of we're pretty broad in here. Kids can come in here and play games simply enough. We have some different we have flight simulators, and we do actually have a golf game that goes very in detail with your swing angle, and you can really get there and read the green, and it shows you, the way it moves and everything. And then on the other end, we have our out service, which is as of right now, it's been basically kids' parties. That's been pretty much the most popular use of it, and just these kids' birthday parties, everyone's getting together. It's kind of like a new thing that's pretty unique. Not everybody has it.
Right.
And it creates go ahead.
What technology do you use?
So we have the main thing we use is the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift S.
Okay.
And then we also have a PlayStation VR, but that's something we we don't prioritize as much.
Right. When you go on the road, do people need a special environment, or can you set it up just in a living room, or how does that work?
So the only real thing we need is space.
Okay.
We need as much space as you can give us.
Okay.
So that means people's got to move furniture out of the way, and we need to be as far away from the walls as we can get.
Are any of these games multiplayer? Like multiple people can put on the mask, and
yes.
then do you see each other in the games when you?
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's so wild.
So the best one, in my opinion, is the boxing game. You can actually do that multiplayer.
Okay.
So we had a husband and wife come in, and we were going through all the games. Whatever, we mentioned the boxing game.
Bad idea.
Yeah. So the first thing the guy says is, "Well, hang on, can we box each other?" And we were like, "Well, yeah, you can." Boom. That was what they wanted to do. And he didn't hold back one bit when they played. He was punching for the fences pretty much. And he ended up winning actually.
Okay.
So the wife wasn't too happy, but yeah, you can actually see each other. You can it tracks your hand movement, so you can literally wave to each other and make different gestures and stuff like that, and it's.
So in the future, will any of this be tactile? Like you'll actually have something in the room that not only do you see it on your headset, but you'll come up to it and feel something. Like you'll have a room set up to where you can touch objects and things like that.
Yes. So the technology is very new. They do have some things that are the one I saw recently was this. It's like a glass, like a cube goes up real tall, and you're actually leaning around it in the game, so you can touch it and feel up against it. And then it was like a shooter, so you would lean and you're trying to shoot the other person, and you get back behind it, and you can actually feel that touching up against you.
Right.
And then for the people watching, they're also getting to watch and see like the way you guys are kind of moving and.
Oh, wait a second. People can watch you while you're playing the game.
Yes, you can actually broadcast to screens, right, to TVs or monitors, whatever, so you can see what the user sees in the headset.
Oh, that's wild.
As they're doing it, yeah.
So is that what esports is sort of about? Where I'm not familiar with esports.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched any of it, but I assume that they're watching a monitor of people playing these games. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that like,
Yes. So the virtual reality esports is new. That's something they're still expanding on. But they have a game called Pavlov is the name of it, and it's very similar to like Call of Duty. And so you actually in the game, it's very like I said, it mimics your real life movements. So you'd imagine if someone's like shooting, for example, they're going to kind of squat down and maybe rest the controllers up on their shoulder to get like a more precise, aim. It'll track you all the way to where if you want to get somewhere and lay completely down on the ground in the game, it'll reflect that.
Wow.
So it's very much like an active, like you almost need to stretch before you do something like that.
Okay, my mind's worrying. Is there ever a possibility that you can imagine the NFL right now, concussions?
Right.
We see the effect of the concussions on some of these players is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, they have to do something to prevent the concussions or football will go away.
Right.
But now what I hear you say is theoretically could two teams be playing football but using virtual players as opposed to me trying to tackle you and you trying to tackle me. The players are virtual. I'm actually running.
Mm-hmm.
My virtual player is running, but when they collide, there's no concussion. There's no...
Right, it would all be in the game.
It would all be in the game.
Contact would take place.
I wonder if that is a possibility.
Are you familiar with Ready Player One at all? Have you seen that movie?
That's a movie. I haven't seen it, but I know it's a movie.
Okay, so in the movie it's called like a haptic feedback suit.
Oh,
And so it's this full body suit that they put on, and in the movie at least, it's like if you hypothetically get punched, you feel like the dispersion
Right.
of like the hit. So I could see where like the NFL, if every player had on these full suits and things, maybe it's not as, like I said, you don't want the concussion, so it's not as it's not at 100%, but they can still feel the hits and maybe feel each other, hands grabbing them and stuff like that.
Right.
I definitely see that being used. In the future, as the technology gets there.
Because as I said, my window goes back into I was born in the 60s, so the 70s is when I started watching football in arcades.
Mm-hmm.
And back in the 70s, football was played at a whole different level than it is now. Granted, the athletes weren't as big, they weren't as fast as they are today, but
Right.
what they let you do back in the 70s versus what they let you do today, whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since the athletes are so fast, so strong, and they hit so hard, you see that they're going to have to do something about limiting. Because you get these guys that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and you don't want one of those guys to take a hit, and then he's not out there on the field anymore.
Right. Yeah. It only takes one injury.
Like Patrick Mahomes is going to the Super Bowl. He was out for 3 or 4 games,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with an injury. You don't want the Mahomes of the world. You don't want the guy Lamar Alexander, who likes to run the football a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see him injured. They played dodgeball in the Pro Bowl, and I was like, well, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You're not going to play the football game anyway. It's basically flag football.
Yeah.
Just play the dodgeball. And I get just as big a kick out of watching them play dodgeball.
Yeah, that was exciting to watch. Actually,
so
yeah.
that makes more sense. So I'm just thinking that the virtual stuff can be exciting, but take some of the element of danger out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump maybe 15, 20 years in the future. Do you go to these like CES? Do you go to these shows where they display the technology of
I'm familiar with them. I have not been to one firsthand.
Yeah, and they show like cars of the future that they'll never actually come to fruition, but
Right.
you see these wild designs and things like that. But then they show these technologies that are going to be part of our life. The iPhone, nobody saw being able to touch on the iPhone 20 years ago. Now it exists. So
normal, yeah.
What do you think 20 years from now is kind of out there for virtual reality. It doesn't have to be games, just kind of virtual reality.
Right. I would imagine it's something like where everyone in their home has like a designated room, and you go in that room, you put, who knows how much equipment on. Like I said, I'm imagining it's like a full body.
Right.
You got the gloves all the way down to even your toes, I would say. And then you put that on, and it really teleports you to just a completely different world. Like,
so now you're on Star Trek at the what did they call that? The
Millennium Falcons.
well, when they would go into
up.
the room and on Star Trek, and they would go into the room and they would say, "Well, I want to go back to Earth," and kind of remember where I was.
Beam them
Yeah,
up or whatever.
the holodeck, I think they call it.
Yeah,
It's kind of a holograph. Now they have artists that have been dead that will actually come out on stage, and there's a 3D image of the artist as they sing with duets with other people. So it's just amazing. I've always been a technology kind of nerd, and I've just been enamored with it, and I think what you guys are doing is going to be really cool. So anybody out there that's looking to have some of this, it's expensive stuff, so if you're not able to buy this yourself, this would be a great way to let these guys come and set up an event for you or a party for you, get to experience it but not have to buy it, and maybe 5-10 years from now we'll all have this stuff, kind of like we all had the iPhone in the house.
I'd imagine we're right here ahead of the the wave for
Right.
this. I think here in a few years the technology we have in here is probably gonna be in everyone's home, and then we'll be on to the
You'll
next
be
level.
on the next step.
On to the next step. We imagine this is the future of gaming, guaranteed, and I'd say there's so many other applications for it.
They say that the esports is growing at a pace. When NASCAR first got started, they said NASCAR was like the fastest growing spectator sport, and they gave the statistics on that. But they say esports is growing so much faster because it's worldwide. NASCAR just didn't it was kind of the South, but this is kind of worldwide, and they say it's growing at a clip. And they said, yeah, the Super Bowl will be watched by a lot of people, and the Super Bowl is still kind of the big event in sporting. But they say that in Europe and places like that, these esports will have 25,000, 30,000 people in arenas watching teams compete, which just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's something that's very popular overseas.
Right.
It hasn't really yet reached here as much, but they've got these massive like amusement park type places that just have all these different virtual contraptions. I mean, for lack of a better word, they got roller coasters that you get in, and these, like big, huge room scale environments that you're able to like just walk around and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty amazing, really, the different things they have.
Listen, Logan, I could talk to you all day about this stuff, but I know you're busy. But anybody out there that's looking to do some of this, look up Logan here at Lexington VR, and he'll help you out. Man, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
It's a pleasure.
Okay.